The last component of responsive web design is flexible media. Flexible media incorporates images and video, and it's a technique that allows us to stretch them based on the size of the screen. By utilizing flexible media, we can ensure that all of the imagery that is displayed on the page will fit in any size environment. There are a bunch of techniques going around for dealing with responsive images lately. That is, solutions that will help us to serve the right image for the occasion, i.e. the size of the screen, the bandwidth available, and so on and so forth. The industry standard solution is still being fleshed out, but for our discussion here, we're going to focus on making our media scale in a responsive way. We will discuss this more in depth later on in this course. But for now, let's just look at a quick example. Here's a page that contains two images. Same exact image, it's the same exact size. The first image is just placed on the page as it would by default. The second image has some CSS that will allow it to scale as the page scales. And I've turned on a border on the containing HTML tag so that you can see how, as I resize my browser window, the containing HTML tag also scales. So what's happening here is that the first image, which is not being addressed responsively, is spilling out of the containing element. You can see that the image extends past the border, and I also get horizontal scroll bars. This is not an optimum solution. The second image, however, scales down nicely depending on the size of the screen, and as I scale the screen up and down, you can see that the image on the bottom keeps its proportions but scales correctly. So what's happening here is we're utilizing some CSS that is allowing us to account for the variety in the screen size. Simply put, we're using a max width of 100%. This prevents the image from exceeding its total view because we don't want to scale it up because then the image is going to degrade. And then it's a good idea also to add in height auto. It's used just in case, and it forces the correct aspect ratio. In most browsers this should happen anyways, but there's a few browsers that are problematic, so we add the height of auto and we include the declaration of important to force that to be the behavior that happens. So ideally we will be using this on our images to ensure that they scale. Now, as I mentioned before, there are other techniques for dealing with this, and we'll learn more specifically about this when we talk more about images in this course, as well as ways for dealing with video, because same sort of thing happens with video. By default, the video does not scale appropriately, but there are techniques that we can do to ensure that that happens.